very good evening to everyone. I'm recording this on a Sunday night after a tiring day playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends. And for this week's video, which is going to be a short one, I'll probably do something better before the end of the week. All right. Um, if you guys have been aware of what I've been doing, I have done an IPO spotlight with the financial coconuts, and I placed that link at the bottom of the section for this particular video, and you can go and look at that video. That video is fairly long. They've got me and a couple of influencers asking the CEO of the assembly place a series of questions. Now, the IPO has already taken place, and I thought it might be useful to come up with an IPO after action review to just discuss some of the thoughts I have about the IPO post listing. All right. So this way, for fans who want to dive a little bit deeper as to my thought processes behind the IPO, uh, this video is obviously not sponsored by any party. So I can say whatever I want, right? So long as I don't commit defamation or I do anything that is illegal. Okay. And the background is very simple. Okay. The assembly place had a wildly successful IPO. And the IPO was priced at 23 cents. It closed on the first day at 29 cents. All right. This is a 26% increase. The people who participated in the IPO made a decent amount of money. Okay, but do take note that the public portion of the IPO was 35.5 times oversubscribed. All right, which means that if you had applied for the IPO, you might get a very tiny share. So the amount that you earn on the first day might not be very consequential. All right. But nevertheless, Budget Babe wrote to me on WhatsApp saying that the assembly place is up 26% today. And he says, Sila, Sila, how come you say you will buy, then end up never buy? Right? Regret or not? Okay. And I told her that, okay, wait for this video. Okay, I will try to answer the question about my views of the assembly place, all right, that is not really related um, to any like paid advertisement, all right. Okay, so let's begin with some really good points about the assembly place. Okay, uh, during the interview that you watched with me with the assembly place, they seem to consider the establishment of a community as a central aspect of their main business strategy, all right. And the truth is that I didn't really buy the argument, right? You can see the other influencers talking about the establishment of a community. And for me, maybe as a layman, I don't understand the business of these co-working spaces or these co-living spaces, right? Maybe I don't really understand whether someone can really be emotionally attached to some kind of a rental agreement, right? Yeah, so I must say that I'm very ignorant about it, but nevertheless, the people who talk about this seem to be uh, much more of a subject matter expert in that matter. I just let it slide, okay? So I have a different view about the assembly place. Like for me, my general impression is that we've got a very solid CEO. Strikes me as a very good businessman who is very open-minded, very experimental, and very well connected. So this is definitely Eugene has given me the impression that he's not afraid to experiment with different concepts, uh, and and his IPO is backed by several very big names in the industry. All right, really big names. Okay, so these people obviously know what they're doing, right? Compared to me, so I have to respect that. Okay, uh, so in essence, for me, if you were to buy the assembly place as a stock, you're really betting on a person. You're betting on a person's business acumen and skill. All right. Okay. So I was telling the team, at the end of that session, that the biggest point for an investor for me is simply the price earnings ratio of that starting point at that IPO. The forward price to earnings ratio is about between 8 and 9, all right, between 8 and 9. And to me, this makes it a win-win from day one. This is a value play from day one. And I have a certain benchmark, and my benchmark is the Collywood IPO that was launched at a price to earnings ratio of about 12.4. And that is actually good enough for me. I said that you are humbly coming forward, raising equity for your company, and you know that you are a different IPO from Collywood. Collywood is about 12.4, and you're offering it to the public at about between 8 and 9 PE, right? And I think this is what eventually won me over. I cannot see any reason why the IPO would not do well. Okay, and these are generally the good points about TAP. Like for me, if I back an IPO, I want to win on day one, right? I want to see cash flow, or I want the business to be very cheap. Okay, and the reason why I do this is not because I think I'm very smart. In fact, like I've always said, right? I rather approach everything as a gundu rather than a guru, right? I cannot possibly be a guru when it comes um, to this sort of hospitality kind of industry, right? This kind of co-living kind of industry. So I can only come in as a value investor. I want to have my cake and eat it too on the day where I actually buy the IPO. All right. So this is what I like about the IPO. All right. So it's not surprising to me that it's done well. All right. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I did not participate in the IPO, right? Now, there are several, I think, fairly valid reasons, all right? So, because we are conducting the panel before the IPO. The fear is that if I've acted on it, there is a risk that, I might be acting on insider information. Yeah, anyway, I don't know whether I receive any insider information, but the important thing is that I don't act on it. Okay, so this way I'm very safe. I did not make a single cent from the IPO. I did not apply. All right. So that was the first thing that goes on in my mind. I can't really afford to be like a person who has a YouTube channel and then somehow it gets revealed that you might have insider information, right? You benefited from it. That's not good, all right? So I might be paranoid here, okay? Now, but of course, the main reason for me is that there is no dividends policy, right? Collywood had a 40% payout ratio. And for me, if there's no dividends, well, there's really no playground that I can really play, okay? And I've done some checks on their prospectus, uh, and the assembly place, their profitability only stabilized in 2024. And prior to that, the profits were really inconsistent. And it's really too small to support dividends, right? It's also flagged that there is significant non-cash negative fair value adjustments on investment properties each year, right? So if there's these fair value adjustments that is negative, your earnings per share is very volatile, right? And if your earning per share is volatile, you can't really return money to the shareholder. It's simply not designed that way. And even with a 20% payout, the sensitivity testing is that, even if I were to give out 1.24 million as a dividend, it's unsustainable, right? At a 20% payout. Okay. Now, this is not the fault of the assembly place. It is a catalyst counter. Okay. And their capital needs are very sincere. They remain high for the next 3 to 5 years, right? So they're currently between, I think, 3 to 4,000 keys, right? You need to be at least 8,000 keys before you can even have a conversation about dividends policy. Okay, and so between 8,000 and 10,000, maybe we can have that conversation about when it can join the main list. Okay, and that is projected to happen uh maybe 2030. Okay, so for these reasons, there are very valid reasons why I did not participate in the IPO. Okay, and actually I made this follow-up video to tell people that just because I don't participate in the IPO doesn't mean that the IPO will not be wildly successful. And in this case, it was wildly successful. All right. Okay. Right. Now, the assembly place can still be a great investment if you like capital gains, right? They are pivoting and they are trying to establish a presence into Malaysia that I think is very exciting if you're a growth investor. And it can potentially open the doors to get more keys, right? And keys being some kind of a metric that is being applied in this industry. Okay, but what you need to do is you need to be patient and let the assembly place retain their earnings so that you can grow the company, resulting in capital gains, right? And you have to be the kind of investor that like capital gains. All right, so I'm not. I happen to be a true blue dividends investor, so I simply did not participate in the IPO, right? And when Budget Babe asked me whether do I feel any regret, I say absolutely not, because there is a stock called Meta Optics, and when it launched, it went from 20 cents to 70 and a half cents on the first day of trading, right? Yeah, she should be asking herself, right, whether did she actually play Meta Optics on the day of the IPO, right? Yeah, but that is par for the course, right? Um, if you lose a chance to make money, it is fine because in some cases, like on Liberation Day, on one day I could be losing a six-digit figure in my portfolio. Losing actual money is definitely not a lot more painful than missing out on one or two opportunities that's always arising. Okay, that's par for the course. Right? So as a result, you might want to ask yourself this question, right? If you're an investor, what are you investing for? Right? When you invest, it's often based on a personal mandate. Why do you want these capital gains? Right? Is it because you want to be richer? You want to become a millionaire? Right? You want to upgrade your status in society that is very often based on money. People invest for different reasons, right? For me, I've always been a dividends investor to pay my family bills. I use my dividends to support a mortgage. I even use dividends to pump some contribution into my CPF, my SRS, to actually reduce the taxes that I pay at the end of the year. All right. So growth investments are just not for me because I have to sell to realize my investments. I hate selling my stocks. Okay. There is this idea that if I were to sell a growth stock and take a profit, I'm missing out on a future opportunity. So with dividends, I don't have to worry because it's constantly selling for me. The money keeps coming back to my bank account and I can continuously buy. Right? Yeah. So people have different personalities. It just is I don't think my way is the right way. Okay. And we just have to respect that all of us are a little bit different in the world of investing. Okay. Now, if you decide to commit to a dividends investment strategy, and this is something that you really need to accept, okay, you are going to miss opportunities in growth stocks or even some value stocks that do not give out a cash flow, right? The assumption place is what I term an anti-dividend stock. It doesn't mean that an anti-dividend strategy is wrong. It's just that the opposite of dividends investing is that you invest in a company that needs to retain its cash flow to grow faster, right? You are playing a totally different game from a person who's playing dividends. That's all, right? Now, maybe it might be interesting for me to just come up with an analogy, right? Like in dating, right? You know, you Gen Z, you go into Tinder and you find a partner that you're looking for, right? Now, some people, especially for me when I was in my 20s, I date because I want to settle down, I want to start a family, I want to have children, right? So I date with that idea that I'm committed to starting a family, right? So um, even when I'm dating, I don't really put in a lot of effort buying expensive gifts for my wife, you know, to woo her and do those romantic things. Because for me, settling down with a family could mean preparing for a big ass mortgage, you know, preparing for kids to arrive and all that. So I'm not the kind of romantic guy. I'm in fact the opposite of a romantic guy because my first degree is engineering, right? So, for example, if you're like me and you date and you want to set up a family, sometimes you might find someone who is like 9 out of 10 in terms of appearance, you know, and you might find that this person gets along very well with you, your soulmate, right? But maybe she doesn't want to start a family, or she might previously be a guy, right? Then how do you tell a person like me whose mandate is to start a family to actually like go into a committed relationship with say someone who transitioned from being a male, right? So it just doesn't fit my mandate, and it doesn't mean that I'm right or I'm wrong, right? And there are plenty of people that are suitable for such a person, right? And that is what I think you really need to ask yourself, right? What are you investing for, right? It's the same when it comes to dating. What's compatible with you? What's not compatible with you? So I hope that in a very humorous way could explain to you and hopefully answer budget babe, you know, in a way that is interesting to her as well, right? that the opportunity might not be suitable for someone in my current risk bracket, my risk tolerance level, right? And it can be a fantastic investment, especially for the people that participated in the IPO. I congratulate you. It is an excellent company. Okay, like to me, my actual take is that it is a lot more personality driven than it is driven by a particular system. But I could be wrong, okay? And so I hope that you will enjoy. For those who got into the IPO, I mean, I'm very happy for you. And hopefully in the future, I would be involved in more IPO spotlights. And I hope to obviously be available for a dividends kind of IPO. And then I could ask a lot deeper questions on how sustainable these cash flows are, right? So that's all I have for you for this week. All right. If you like my content, subscribe to my channel. You can buy me a coffee by following this link. Very few people do. All right. Yeah. If you buy me a coffee, you can actually write to me and suggest what material you want. I'll probably do a video for you because so few people buy me a coffee. If you want to listen to my life story, figure out how the FIRE movement works, I'm doing a preview very soon. Google ERM intro, you take the first link and you can come for my preview. All right. So with that, thank you very much. I hope to do one more video that has a lot more substance, all right, this week. And I'll see you then. Thank you.